All right.
We're rocking and rolling. Doesn't get any bigger. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Wacky Wednesday. It's your boy Pat Hilton and Casey Huff. How's it going, Casey?
It's going good. Just it's the middle of the week.
Running a company in the middle of the week.
Day in, day out.
Oh, I know all about it. So what kind of deals you looking at this week in real estate land?
I would be lying to you if I knew what those were. Unfortunately.
So that's the thing about business is it can be really unpredictable. And so how do you predict what kind of results you're going to get when, like you said, it's like, well, we don't know what's going to come in or this going to come. Sometimes it depends on the circumstances. How are you creating the optimum, lane for success?
I mean, it really just comes down to knowing your KPIs and your metrics and just sticking to it regardless if you're having results right now or not, because it's all a numbers game. Um, I think last week we contracted five or six, for direct to seller. That's where we marketed out to sellers. We didn't involve a wholesaler in that transaction. So, I mean, last week was pretty good. It's been pretty quiet so far this week. The time change is probably jacking up a lot of people. Selling isn't really on the radar, but yeah, I mean, it's just showing up every day and doing the repetitions.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where it runs away from people is they do the reps for a while, they start to get some results, and then they think that they don't need to put the reps in. And then they wonder why all of a sudden the results are starting to disappear. It's like, well, dude, you laid off the gas pedal.
Yeah.
And I mean, we all do it. Nobody's
Mhm.
perfect. But
I
that's the whole
think people
point
get,
of the conversations.
yeah, they get bored, right? So you do something, you get a win, you start generating some cash, you automate it, you start putting people in, and then it's like, what's the next shiny object that I can go after? To whereas you just need to keep, you got to stay in the trenches and keep refining and dialing in the system to just really explode. And I think, after 5 years, we're finally at that point to where it's, we're about to remove the top off and explode. So it's kind of exciting to see that hard work is starting to pay off.
Well, and not only does the hard work start to pay off, but you start to become more confident. The more you do something, the more confident you get. And again, some of this stuff might sound like common sense, and some of it is, but that doesn't make it any easier for someone to pull off every single day. And it's the day to day that people get lost. It's
Hmm.
easy to show up on Monday and Friday, but what about the days in between? What about the weekends? Most people take the weekends off. But,
Yeah.
what percentage of your week is the weekend? Let's ask ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT says. The weekend is two
I'd
out of
probably say
seven
30.
days. So it's about 28.57% of your week, every week, your entire life. So about 30% of your week is the weekend. So if you're not focusing on anything related to your goals on the weekend, well, then about 30% of your time is not spent on your goals if you take every weekend off. And then you factor in all the other time that you're not working on your goals. So it's like even the people who say that they're working on a side hustle or whatever to bring their dream to life, it's like they're probably not putting as much time in as they think that they are, number one. And number two, to actually compete with someone who's putting in 100% of their time, well, now we're starting to see that that's going to be very
Hmm.
difficult.
Yeah, no, 100%. It all compounds. And so if you're not putting in the repetitions and the work, somebody that is, just like you said, it's going to be night and day whenever you look at it from a year or 2 years time.
Well, that's I think what people forget about is you can probably get away with it for a day or two, but over time everything tweaks out. Everything rises to the top or goes to the bottom of the glass, and we see that time and time again with people that come and go in any
Hmm.
category. You look at those success charts from 1950 to 2025, and it shows you what company made the most money or what athlete or what rock and roll band was the top. And it's crazy when you look at those charts because some of those companies are profiles or public figures or famous actors or musicians or whatever. That's like, oh man, I remember them. You look at the chart and you're like, oh, I remember them. I remember that company. But it's like maybe they're not around anymore. I always find that very interesting. It's like your window of opportunity is, it's never open forever.
No, no, I mean it's that's where the discipline and the confidence comes in. Whenever a door does open, you just blow through it and you know, surprise, I'm here, let's go. So many people are afraid to walk through that door because they don't have the discipline and the habits to not get their ass kicked when as soon as they walk through it.
Right.
So I think that's definitely what separates those that succeed and those that wish that they could succeed.
Well, and you see it a lot, especially at like masterminds or conferences and stuff, where there's people who sit there and they watch for too long. They're invested, they've got skills, they've got talent, they're probably doing some deals, they're probably making some money, but like they never get to that next level. And I feel like they're just watching too much. I think that there
Hmm.
is in the self help and the personal development and the entrepreneur space, I think there's this almost like a lust for if I just get more information and more formulas and more solutions and more training, then I'll get the results. And so like there's this craving, this like lust for more networking, more events, more training, more books. And it's like if I just do more of this, then I'll magically get the results. And it's like, dude, the results are not in the book. They're
No,
on the street corner shaking hands with a property owner
it's
or
in actually doing the work. So,
whatever it is that you want to do in life. I mean, it's
mhm.
it's so unfortunate. Like you can only learn so many formulas before you got to put them to use in the real world. And that's where
But
people diss traditional schooling because how many formulas did they teach us in traditional school that we never use?
yeah, I mean,
A lot.
like growing up, that was the thing. Go to school, go to school, go to school, go to college, go to college, go to college.
Yep.
Yeah, you can learn everything, you know, in theory about something, but until you actually get in the trenches and get punched in the mouth, you don't really like. Yeah, you're gonna have theory to fall back on, but
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the things we had this week that we brought up with the team was like everybody deals with stress differently. And so, one of my pet peeves is whenever you're in a stressful situation, like you just got to stop and slow it down, think, and then come to me and let's figure out a solution. But whenever you bring that stressful energy in here and you're just like, like a little rubber bouncy ball in a room, going all over the place, like it's impossible to be creative and to solve a problem. So, being just book smart doesn't help you out in those stressful situations. So, it's just like lifting weights, time under tension, saves all.
Well, and it's like, the more that you're around people and the more that you're in a situation where you have to execute or you have to put on a certain type of performance, the more you start to realize why certain people are cut out for certain stuff and some people aren't.
Yeah.
And so how do I get everybody to move in the right direction regardless of what somebody's cut out for and what somebody isn't cut out for? Because at the end
Hmm.
of the day, for us to get a specific result, we all have to move the needle together. And so I think that one of the hardest things is when it's not just about you anymore, barely paying the bills, doing whatever you're doing, especially in business or building your channel. Like people think that building a channel on social media that overnight you're going to have millions of followers and millions of dollars. It's like, dude, I would rather have a strong core foundation of good people that follow me than millions of followers, and it's just who knows what the accounts even are, if they're even real.
Yeah.
That stuff is such a waste of time.
I mean,
So you got to
that's
be
what the
careful not
cult.
getting caught up in all this BS.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the culture push, likes and followers, right? Versus, quality, having quality people in an audience.
Well,
So,
and one of them pays the rent, and one of them brings you deals, and one of them doesn't.
mhm.
The like hackers, because I mean, let's be realistic here. After this is posted, I could easily go to one of these farms, these like farms, bot farms, and I could put a million views on this video by posting the link into this little thing, and all these people's bot accounts go and like this video. What you don't know is that smart people will click on likes and comments and followers to see if you've used a bot farm or not, because I can just look on there and see who liked a video. So if anyone out there, if you think that you're like fooling people, like your stuff magically has 7 likes. There's nothing wrong with 7 likes, by the way. You got 7 likes on the last 15 videos, then magically you get 200,000 likes. Like, guys, we know.
Mhm.
We know what you did, and it's okay, but like, don't try to hide it. That kind of stuff was maybe in 2021 or 2022, you could get away with it. Now, no one cares. No one cared back then. All people want to do is more deals.
Yep.
And so
It's
the
like when,
goal always has to be, how can I help someone who's watching us that doesn't know anything about what we do get more deals?
I mean, and that's kind of one of the directions I'm trying to figure out where I want to go. My software's a couple weeks out from us, hopefully opening it up to more than just a handful of people. But so many gurus and companies focus on the marketing aspect of real estate and customer acquisition. Like, I have yet to really see somebody that peels the curtain back of what happens after you acquire a deal.
Mm.
And so, that's one of the things, where I am, I'm in an office probably 90% of my time. So, it'd be pretty boring to put a camera on me. But I think when people can see that spotlight and highlight what we do day to day, how we make decisions, what we make, and just kind of pull the curtain back of a real operation. I feel that the community would like that because there's just everything's on buying and acquiring, right? There's nothing afterwards. So, I think that would be something pretty cool to bring out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's always opportunity for people who are already doing it. The thing about it is that we've gotten to a point where we want to help people that are new as much as possible, and that's why I think that system you guys have designed for, especially agents, is incredible. But we want to make sure that we're working with people that have got some skin in the game, because it's
Hmm.
too hard to stop your entire operation to start someone else's.
Yeah.
Get to a certain point where it's like you're moving at such a specific speed and a specific frequency that it's almost impossible to shut that off to try and accommodate people that just aren't ready for the type of speed or the type of frequency that your company's on. So you got to find those people and figure out how to get everybody up to that speed or up to that level. And so I think that's been a challenge for us. Is it's like, man, people who just can't talk on camera, it's like you've got to figure out how to do that on your own. We can't save you.
Yeah.
You got to start doing it.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, like your avatar is people that are already running a business, right? Not somebody that's wanting to build a business. And so that's kind of my same avatar with my software is we're going after investors that know what to do, that are already doing deals, but we're just coming in to help them manage and be more efficient and have everything in one spot. So, like I was talking to my buddy yesterday. He's a one-man band out in East Texas, and every time I talk to him, he's like, "Man, I forgot to do this. Man, I forgot to do that." And I'm like, I think this is really like it's it's other investors like him that don't want a huge team, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
one man band that's just running on all cylinders. This is going to make him so much more efficient. So his day-to-day admin stuff is just so easy to know what he has to knock out to where the rest of the day he's spending time generating more deals and more revenue for his business. And so that's the opportunity cost that so many people are going to gain once we get this thing to market. And so that's why like I'm so passionate. I've spent so much time and energy building it is because I know how it's going to help people.
Well, and it's like you're active with it all. And that's the same thing with me with media. I use media because it's a great way to market. And I mean, I used to use it just to be fun and to make people laugh and stuff, but I was always trying to get another gig. And I think that the more you can explain it easy and show people how to easily use something, the easier it is for them to actually do it. Because if they
Yeah.
see somebody doing something and they can physically relate and watch them go through the process, well, then it's way easier for them to insert themselves into that character and become that character that gets the job done. And I saw this dude speak. His name was Don Miller. And he spoke at this event, and he wrote this book called Story Brand. And Story Brand is all about being the guide and allowing someone else to be the hero of their own journey. And I thought that was smart because I think we always want to be the hero, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's normal, like human behavior to want to be the hero. But when we can let somebody else be the main character and we can guide them to the result, I think that's worth something. And so as real estate professionals or media professionals or whatever, how do we help somebody get more real estate deals? Or how do we help somebody get on video? Or how do we help somebody do this or help somebody do that? Because if we can guide someone, well, then we have an unlimited amount of potential with the people that we can work with. But I think that where some people get lost is they get so stuck in they have to be the hero all the time. And that can become an addictive thing. And so they get
Yeah.
lost in wanting a round of applause rather than getting a specific result. Because if you get the specific result enough, you're going to get the round of applause anyway.
Well, it's it all boils down to, people not being patient enough and willing to put in the work, to get somebody else to be successful is a hell of a lot harder than you doing it yourself.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, you can control a lot more than the other. So yeah, I mean, most people don't want to just show up every day and put in the work without seeing any results.
Well, that's the other thing is it's the delayed gratification is hard, man, when you're trying to do business or anything, fitness or social media, or you start a podcast or anything. It's going to take a long, long time of doing it just to get even good enough to where it's flowing. And then once it's flowing, to get good enough to where people start to pick it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you don't see a UFC fighter win his first fight and then he's the champion in the second fight. It's
No,
never
I
that
mean,
easy.
it, everything in life is like, that's difficult. It's all the same journey. Um, and I think the people that win are the ones that start a journey when they have absolutely nothing to lose. So when your
Mm.
back's up against the wall, you're at the bottom, the lowest of lows, and then you finally have that click in your brain to go all in and you have nothing to lose. Those are the people that are usually successful long term. Yeah, you have your overnight success people, but 9 times out of 10, they blow all their money before they even,
Yeah, well, that's the old
develop the
lottery
skill.
example, right? The old
Yeah.
lottery example is however many percent, 90% of lottery winners win the lottery and then go broke because they just don't know how to manage the money,
hmm
which is
So,
crazy to me.
yeah, no, it's, everybody has dreams and these wants these fancy cars and houses and stuff like that. But, it's different whenever you put the work in to get them versus just, winning the lottery.
Well, right. And I think also as people equate that to success, I think people look at a nice house or a nice car and they think that's success. What success is actually doing the things that are necessary to get the car and the house after you already have it. That's success. You know what I mean?
hmm Yeah.
People who are successful, who are wealthy or whatever, they don't just stop working. I think that people think that people reach a destination and they just stop working and they don't have to do anything anymore and they just don't go anywhere or just sit around and drink pina coladas. That's not the case.
Yeah, no,
Even
those that are,
the biggest CEOs on the planet are managing huge numbers of teams and
yeah,
employees.
I'd say those that are self-made that work their ass off to get to that level, you never just shut it off and, sell out and shut it off. Maybe when you're like 90 years old, but that that passion that you develop, those habits, the discipline, the showing up every day, you're more addicted to that than you are the results that happen. And so that's why when you never really see the successful people that built it themselves just sell off and ride off into the sunset.
No. And they're never gonna because they're too busy continuing to chase the next level.
Yeah.
And that's what people got to understand. It doesn't matter what level you're at in life. You should always be trying to reach some kind of new, playing field where you're getting better every day. Or, unfortunately, the world just passes you by.
Yeah, and I mean, as you level up, everything gets easier. And so it's like, hey, we grow this real estate empire to our wildest dreams, and then, hey, let's get with your buddy and, hey, let's go after the HVAC industry because it's almost the same thing, right?
Right.
Or anything like that. So let's like you develop this skill, the game becomes so easy. Why would you just waste it? So
Well, that's the thing. It's like if you're constantly seeking skills and to improve your expertise, you're always going to improve every other aspect of your life. But if you're just trying to get through the shift or you're just trying to do the minimum amount of work possible, well, then you're always going to be looking for the minimum amount of work possible. So, you get what you put in. And most of the people that you see that are overnight successes or that popped off or that made it big or whatever you want to call it,
got lucky.
dude, they were working on that shit for years and years and years and years and years, hours and hours and hours all day long before it worked out. It's always the case.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the case. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, what can people do today to get a real estate deal this week?
Man, I'm always going to stay with the foundation of just get off your ass, go outside, and go to some neighborhoods that find some transactions on Zillow in, and just go look for the ugliest house and door knock them and see if they want to sell. Like people overcomplicate this business, and I need all these systems and stuff like that. I mean, just get an electric scooter and go to town, man. Go get some sun, go get some vitamin D and knock on the door, don't come back until your knuckles are bloody. Um, that's go talk to people and learn how to solve any problems that they have. And in that, it's so easy. It's so easy. So, but yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have enough people to talk to, then you got to go find some.
Mm-hmm.
In any category. You want to be, the most ripped guy at the gym, dude, go talk to the guy that's the most jacked guy at the gym. There is nothing that guy wants to talk to. No, there's nothing the jack guy at the gym wants to talk about more than how to help you get jacked. I mean, people have this totally backwards. There's nothing a guy that's making money wants more than the guy who doesn't have any money, who's asking him for help to be successful. They want you to win more than you could ever possibly imagine.
Mm-hmm.
People literally have this stuff backwards. You look across the room, you see some jacked guy, and he's kind of like smiling a little bit, and you're kind of half-assing out of shape on the elliptical. He's probably laughing because he remembers how shitty it was when he had to step on the elliptical feeling like that too. People tell themselves it's always the negative. It's always the negative. It's always the negative, instead of thinking that that's probably the case. I don't know any dudes that are in great shape that don't like getting asked, hey, what are you doing? What's your regimen look like? What guy?
Not there
what
yet,
guy
so
doesn't
I
like
don't know.
that? What guy doesn't like that? So I think if people gave themselves a little bit more credit, they'd be better off, because we come up with these stories in our head of what someone's thinking or what it's like, or I can't ask that person this question, he's going to think I'm broke or whatever. So I was broke. Of course he's going to think I am broke. Who cares?
I think it all boils down to, if you're in that situation, just be genuine whenever you go up and ask
Yeah.
somebody. Don't pretend to be something that you're not, because we usually sniff it out to know, like, oh, this dude's a fake, just by trying to pretend that he knows. Just, if you're transparent and you're honest and just, ask the questions point blank and not worry about the answers, then that goes a lot further than just trying to put on a show.
Well, and the other thing is that you're never going to get results or improvements in areas that you aren't willing to ask the right questions about. So that's going to require you to get a little bit vulnerable, no matter what the question, whether it's about money or business or fitness or finances or marriage. Well, I don't care what it's about. It's like, you better start thinking about where you're actually at and then ask from that perspective to where you want to go, because no one's going to be able to help you if you don't. I think that's why social media is so awesome, because you can ask anybody any question on the planet and people can answer it. And yeah, you're going to get a couple wisecracks, but usually somebody's going to come in with some fire. And that's all because of people and networking. So put yourself out there, ladies and gentlemen. Make it known what you do, who you are, what you stand for. And ladies and gentlemen, it is Wacky Wednesday with your boy, Casey Huff. Get out there and get some deals. Make some phone
doors.
calls. Go knock on some freaking doors. If you got no deals, there's no excuses. Get out there and get it done. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to follow the show, go subscribe on Spotify, Apple Music, and all those things. And we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
There we go.